Welcome back. It's time for another book talk, and today is Science Fiction Sunday. I'm very happy to talk to you about Red Rising, and I'm just going to cover book one here today. I know that you can listen to lots of videos on YouTube, on Booktube, about Red Rising, so I'm going to put my own spin on it of what I thought of the book and what stood out as unique and interesting to me. But I suppose this video is also a response to many other people's Red Rising videos and what they've had to say about the book. One thing that bothers me about the way that people talk about it is a lot of people dismiss the book as having a Hunger Games element and saying they don't want to read that again, that kind of story, because Red Rising by Pierce Brown is a young adult sci-fi dystopian novel. To me, though, it's not really Hunger Games-esque so much as, I believe one YouTuber put it as more of a combination of Ender's Game and Hunger Game. And I think that's a better way to put it, though the word game is not in the title. To me, the Ender's Game comparison works better because it's about military strategy. The point in the book that feels like Hunger Games to people, I believe they're saying that because that is their experience with a game that involves deadly competition. But Darrow is not a tribute character. It's not dealing with that same issue that Hunger Games was dealing with. The competition in this game is a military academy. It is about military training. It is a Roman ancient concept of the strongest survive in these military situations and prove themselves in order to advance for their positions in actual war scenarios. And the really fun part of that is in outer space for spaceship combat. I love the series because of the spaceship combat, the outer space combat, really amazing, powerful combat scenes. But I feel I've already gotten ahead of myself. Darrow is a character who lives in a society that when I first read it came across as somewhat cyberpunk because there are different colors that are coded in his society, which is huge discrimination and stereotyping in how they do that, which is a young adult feel to it. And I can see how that part kind of annoys people. But it works in this story. It's basically different races when you think about it, and they've been genetically engineered. And with that cyberpunk element I was talking about, once he gets to the surface world, he finds out about all kinds of interesting technology and criminal activity, the sculpting possibility that there are very elite people out there who can sculpt a body and change it from one race into another, and to change the looks that much. And that becomes the heart of the story. The idea that, to me, this is a mix of Ender's Game and the Count of Monte Cristo, because really it's a vengeance story. Darrow is going to go undercover to infiltrate these people that he feels are responsible for killing his family. He wants revenge. There's a lot going on here, and I think it's very exciting the way that he is willing to allow them to sculpt his body, to change his physical identity in order for him to go out there and do all this. But it also means he has to learn a lot. So maybe you'd say that there's a bit of a Pygmalion effect here. My Fair Lady as well, because he is a bit of a fish out of water. Or maybe you'd say it's like the Man in the Iron Mask, where he's got to learn all the proper etiquette and all of that in order to fool the enemy and be one of them. But part of that is the ruthlessness. And part of the fun of that competition part that people claim is like the Hunger Games is Darrow having to give in to the ruthlessness that he sees in these other members of society, and him having to be willing to behave that way and really alter who he is on his path to vengeance, and his dedication for what he believes he should do because of the death of his family. It is a sad story, but ultimately also a story about a man who is rebuilding himself so that ultimately, perhaps one day, he can love again and he can care about other people and trust other people. And that's also the magic of this book, the found family trope, which works really well here as the other characters have amazing personality and he really gets to ultimately learn to be part of a team and to work with some of these other people. There's just a lot of crazy stuff that happens along the way. So I highly recommend this book. I've been recommending it to people since about 2015. It won a Goodreads Choice Award as the best book of the year in 2014, not for young adult, not for science fiction, but for debuting author that year for Goodreads. So congratulations to Pierce Brown for that. The trilogy is amazing. I love the way it builds. This is actually one where I feel it gets better with each book. And then there's a second trilogy, and so far 2 of those books are out. We're still waiting for Pierce Brown to give us the 6th book in the series to complete that second trilogy. Though, while you're waiting, you can read the graphic novels. There are comics that function as a prequel that give more background information. So there's a lot to it. I highly recommend Red Rising. Hopefully you would enjoy the books. Every day is a good day for a book talk. Peace.